Greetings and salutations, viewers and listeners. Welcome to another episode of Game Break, where me and my crew take a break from our creative endeavors to play some video games and enjoy other people's creative endeavors. I am Charles, coming to you today with another episode of Everlasting Summer. Last time round, we survived the dance party, and the after party, as it were, although we got a bit interrupted from our bunkmate, and we are diving right into day 4 of being at this pioneer camp. So let's see what day 4 has for us. I woke up with a hellish ringing inside my head. The ringing seemed to be coming from the depths of my consciousness. But after I came to my senses, I realized that the cause of this ringing is my alarm clock. Strange. Where did it come from? Why is it standing near my bed? It was 7:30, according to the clock. Olga had already left, and there was nobody to force me to go to the lineup. Thus, I can sleep a bit more. I closed my eyes, but seemed like my consciousness had already had its coffee and was ready for a long, productive day. I need to get up. I should plan my day out. After all, I need to at least find out something today. But still, nothing came to my head. Fine. I need to wake up completely and wash myself. On my way to the washstands, I met Xenia. I haven't seen her in a while. What got you up so early?
Anything wrong with being up early? Oh, she's the librarian, right.
She looked at me as if I had insulted her. No, nothing. Just curious.
None of your business.
Gosh, Xenia isn't very sympathetic even when she's in a good mood. But today she's just furious. The cold water perked me up, the fog in my head dissipated, and my thoughts started arranging themselves. Curiously, I started to worry about finding a good place in the canteen more than about finding answers. I brushed my teeth and was going to leave when a quiet sound wafted past my ears. Probably a squirrel or some other animal. I heard another sound, this time a bit farther. I walked 10 meters along the path, searching for the source. Nobody, just the morning forest. I returned to the washstands and saw Miku, who was looking for something in the grass. Noticing me, she smiled and jumped up to me.
Oh, hello, good morning. I accidentally scattered my tooth powder, just trying to gather it all back up.
The dewy grass didn't seem to be helping matters. Are you sure that's a good idea?
Well, why? What else can I do? I don't have any more. It was the last I had.
She pouted like a child who had just had her favorite toy taken from her. Here, I'll give you mine. I dug into my bag. No tooth powder there. Strange. Didn't I just put it there? I walked away for just a minute, and now it's gone. Listen, it looks like I have forgotten it. I didn't want to tell her that it had just gone missing. Knowing the sensitivity of this girl, it was safe to assume that vanishing household goods would impress her so much that her brain would reset itself in order to avoid overheating. That's rude. Well, I'll be off.
Yeah, cheers. Visit me in the music club. I'm still alone there, but I...
Miku's voice faded in the freshness of the summer morning far behind me. Getting back to the leader's cabin, I took my cell phone and looked at the battery meter. Enough power for a day, maybe even less. Of course, it won't help me much in here, but still, Finding a charger in the 80s would mean inventing it. I was going to head for breakfast when somebody knocked on the door. It was Lena.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I was taken aback a bit. The events of the previous day were still fresh in my memory, but I didn't really want to speak about them. You're probably looking for Olga, aren't you?
Well, no. I mean, yes.
Lena was her usual self, shy and easily embarrassed. That dance on the pier, now it seemed no more than a dream. She's not here, I'm sorry.
Okay then. I'll go.
Okay. When Lena left, I thought that I'd been too cold towards her, so I decided to be nicer on our next encounter. Still, regardless, the morning was shining and beautiful. The bright sun was shining over the space in time-displaced pioneer camp Semyon, warming its residents and filling them with energy to spend the day productively. Or, in my case, to waste it in futile efforts to find an explanation for everything happening here. There was an unusually large crowd near the canteen. Of course, there was no other place in the camp the pioneers loved as much as the canteen, but why were they all crowding on the porch? I came closer to find out what was going on. Looked like all the camp had gathered at the porch. There were all the familiar girls, Olga and Electronik. They were having a lively discussion. I drew closer.
Ah, Semyon! Have you seen Shurik today?
Nope. What's the matter?
We haven't been able to find him since early morning.
Disappearing pioneers. Well, that's something new.
But he was with you yesterday?
She was talking to Electronik. Yes, he was.
So you woke up this morning and he wasn't anywhere to be found?
No.
Why didn't you come to me immediately?
Well, I thought that he got up earlier and went to wash up or something.
Did he mention anything yesterday?
Interjected Slavia. For example?
That he was going somewhere, for instance?
Nope. What exactly is so horrifying about that? It's only 9 a.m. He might have decided to go for a walk.
You don't know Shurik.
She looked over at me seriously. Well, no, I don't. But I didn't see anything suspicious in that situation.
Okay, let's stop panicking. We'll find him.
Oh no.
How could he miss breakfast?
Ulyana grinned.
Exactly. Time to eat anyway. Oh, too many voices.
The pioneers proceeded into the canteen. Yet again, I had no choice where to fit in. The only free place was at the table with Elisa and Ulyana.
Take a seat.
Oh, higher.
Take a seat.
She pointed at the chair next to her. I sat down.
Aren't you gonna get your food?
Good idea. I hadn't thought about that. Today's breakfast didn't look much different from yesterday's, but it looked more appealing. Or maybe I was just very hungry. Or maybe I was eager to finish it off as soon as possible to avoid yet another Ulyana prank.
Want to go to the beach with us today?
When?
Right after breakfast.
Generally speaking, relaxation wasn't on my agenda today, but if I was going to spend my time thinking, why shouldn't I do it while getting a suntan? Sure, why not?
Ah, cool.
She smiled nicely. I bet you're planning another prank.
No, not at all.
Ulyana waved her hands at me.
She sure is.
Elisa grinned.
She's always like that. No way.
I think she's right.
Nobody believes me.
Uliana took her tray of dirty dishes and stood up.
Enjoy your meal.
She said in such a way which left no doubt nothing good awaits me today at the beach. Me and Elisa were left alone. You know, I guess I shouldn't go with you after all.
Why is that?
Well, I've got something to do.
And what exactly would that be?
Oh, scary face. She looked in my eyes and I couldn't even find an appropriate excuse. I don't even have a swimsuit.
Try mine.
You think it will fit me?
Give it a try.
I don't think it's worth the effort.
Don't be a wimp. We'll find you some swimming trunks.
I thought you were saying bikini. Those words only added to my fear.
Wait for me by the canteen. I'll be back soon.
Okay. There's nothing wrong with waiting for her, is there? Finishing my breakfast, I left the building and sat on the stairs. Pioneers, all having their own business, hurried past me one by one. No one stopped by me. No one even looked in my direction. It seemed they didn't consider me a stranger, but exactly the opposite. Just another teenager their age, their comrade, you could say. I caught myself thinking that I had started to consider this camp and its inhabitants with not as much caution as I had on the first day. It's only been 3 days, too. Indeed, Elisa was back in a couple of minutes.
Ready?
Ready for what? She gave me the trunks, though you could hardly call them trunks. They looked like pink boxers decorated with butterflies and flowers. Actually, they were boxers. I'm almost afraid to ask, but where did you get these?
Too scared to put them on?
Well, you know, I have not the slightest intention of doing so. I appreciated her joke, but wasn't going to make myself a laughingstock.
Put them on,
she said roughly. Why don't you try them on instead of me? I think that the color of this swimsuit would set off your eyes very nicely.
Let's make a bet.
Oh no. I had no desire to accept her bets. No thanks.
All right, you either go to the beach wearing them or you swim naked.
Weighing the pros and cons, even the second option seemed better than the first. I'm not planning on to go anywhere at all.
Then I'll tell everyone that you left those trunks in my cabin.
Why would I do that?
How should I know?
Oh no, she burst into laughter. I didn't want to argue with Elisa, so I decided to go to the beach in the end. But not in those flamboyant trunks. Okay, I'll be there in 10 minutes.
Don't be late.
She ran off after saying that. I dragged my feet to the leader's cabin to get a towel and to hopefully find something like trunks. Olga was waiting for me in the room.
Semyon, did you hear anything about Shurik?
Same as half an hour ago. I walked to my bed and took a towel.
Are you going somewhere?
Yes, to the beach.
Wait, do you have swimming trunks? You came here without any luggage, as I recall.
Strange, that fact didn't seem to surprise her during our first encounter. No.
So what will you wear?
Good question. What? I don't know.
Wait a minute.
She walked to the wardrobe and unlocked a drawer. In a moment she had a pair of normal black trunks. Where did she get those? More importantly, why? Someone from the previous session might have forgotten them. Considering all the strange things in this camp, it wasn't really surprising to find men's swimming trunks in Olga's room. Thanks. The trunks were just my size. I got changed behind the cabin and went to the beach. Oh, nice scenery. A lot of pioneers had already gathered there, but I recognized only Elisa and Ulyana.
Come here!
I walked over to them and sat on the sand.
I see you found something better.
She stared at my trunks and smirked. As you can see.
Come on, let's swim!
I don't want to. Maybe later. I was not a fan of swimming.
Suit yourself.
The girls ran into the water. Why did I come here? Why am I not out looking for answers? Should I care about it now? Semyon seemed normal. Certainly, a lot of strange things have happened to me during these 3.5 days, but not one of them, taken separately, seemed at all supernatural. Especially since I didn't get any closer to finding so much as a clue. On the contrary, everything that has happened has only confused me more. What alternatives do I have? I won't get any truth from the local residents, though I doubt even they know it. Should I try to leave this place? But how far can I walk, considering that I don't even know where I am? Turns out that my only option is to wait. After some time, the girls came back. Ulyana held something in her hands.
Look!
I looked up and saw a crayfish. Just a normal crayfish. Ulyana lay next to me and started to torment it. Leave the poor animal alone.
Why? It's just a crayfish.
So what? It has a right to live, too. It looks like such a upset crayfish, too.
I'll rip its claws off and ask the cook to boil it for dinner.
As if we have nothing else to eat. I looked at Elisa. She seemed to be totally uninterested in Ulyana's fun with a poor sea creature. Tell her.
What's wrong? It's a crayfish. It deserves it.
It looked like the girls missed their lessons on nature in primary school and lacked empathy for the environment. Give it. I snatched the crayfish off Ulyana.
Suit yourself.
I was a little surprised she didn't resist. I looked into the eyes of the poor animal. They didn't express anything at all, but I thought that if it could speak, it would certainly be outraged. Maybe it would even go to the UN Convention of Human Rights. To tell the truth, I wasn't sure that would help. I took the crayfish to the river and set it free.
Never mind, I'll catch more. There are plenty of them here,
said Ulyana. No doubt about it. I mumbled. Time passed and I was getting sleepy. I fell asleep. Oh, you're going to get a sunburn. That's going to hurt. I don't remember what I was dreaming about, if I was dreaming at all, but I woke up when someone shook my shoulder. Olga stood next to me. Did you come to swim too? I asked, still half asleep.
No. It's almost time for lunch and we still can't find Shurik,
the leader said, standing before me in a wet swimsuit. And?
I want you to look for him.
Seems like I'm the only pioneer in this entire camp. I was sincerely outraged. Every time I was getting clearer that Olga considered me her errand boy, to be used like a slave, or vice versa.
If I came to you, then I want you to help me.
Why exactly me? However, after giving it some thought, I decided to agree. After all, my shoulders and back got sunburned while I was sleeping, and searching for Shurik would let me get acquainted with unexpected locations of the camp, or unexplored locations. Okay. It was not exactly right to wander around wearing only swimming trunks, so I should get changed first. 10 minutes later, I stood outside Olga's cabin, deciding where to go. Oh, I have to search. Alright, so we have someone's cabin, we have the forest, we have the bus stop, we have the boathouse. Nowhere else. Alright, so if Shurik was in cabin 3... Well, at this point he could be any of those locations, but I can't quite tell whose cabin that is. Let's check the cabin, forest, bus stop, boathouse. Let's go in the circle. But it's still a stupid idea. If Shurik was hiding anywhere in the camp, he would have been found by now. Of course, assuming he wants to be found. So I hardly think I can help. Together, with this thought, I entered the cabin and stretched myself on the bed. Nothing good will happen if Olga finds me here. Stop. Enough. Am I just some trembling creature, or do I have rights? I didn't want to do anything anyway. The day was just as hot as the previous ones, and the only thing to do was to stay in bed and wait for lunch. I was just falling asleep when somebody knocked on the door. Come in. Slavia stood on the doorstep.
Olga isn't here, is she?
No.
And what are you doing?
She asked with suspicion. I looked over myself, lying on the bed, and said, lying down.
I can see that. But I heard Olga ask you to find Shurik.
Well, yes.
And?
What's the point? I'm sure she's already turned the whole camp upside down. Not much time has passed. Why should we panic?
You know, stuff could happen.
Slavia looked at me thoughtfully.
Get up.
Do I have to? I was so worn out that even the thought of going somewhere frightened me.
Yes, you do.
Slavia is not a person who I could ever say no to. I stood up reluctantly and went out of the cabin with her. We stood at the doorway for some time, relaxing in the beams of the summer sun. Though I was rather frying. Where shall we go?
We have to look everywhere.
Great idea. Just great. The first stop on our route was the library. Slavia went to Xenia, sitting at the table, and spoke to her. I just stood in the doorway. I didn't want to communicate with this librarian any more than necessary. A few minutes later, Slavia came back to me. So?
Nothing.
She shook her head. As expected. The canteen. We still had time before lunch starts, so there was no usual crowd of pioneers. It was empty inside and outside of the building. While Slavia was talking to cooks, I was sitting and playing with the salt shaker. Some salt spilled out of the pot. Certainly, I would be worried if I was superstitious. Strangely enough, he wasn't here either. It would be unexpected if she had found him, for instance, in the refrigerator. The next stop, according to our plan, was the infirmary. I decided not to go inside and waited outside for Slavia. No results. There were pioneers playing football on the sports ground. It would be hard for Shurik to get lost among them. Finally, we reached the clubhouse. You think he could be here? I think that's the first place people would have searched.
Let's go in.
Empty inside. Slavia opened the door and went into the next room. I followed her. This all seemed to me to be a stupid undertaking. This was strange, especially because it was Slavia's idea. I mean, I understand responsibility and so on. But isn't it obvious that he isn't in the camp? After all, he isn't playing hide-and-seek with us, is he?
No one here either.
What did you expect? He'd be sitting in a closet?
Well...
It seemed like I'd offended her. Sorry. But seriously.
I understand, but we have to check all possibilities.
Okay, listen. What do you really think?
About Shurik's disappearance?
Yes.
Maybe he went into the forest and has been caught by a forest spirit.
Is that a thing here? She laughed at that. What a fabulous story. However, in this camp you never know.
Yes, true that.
That seems like some awkward phrasing.
But now isn't the time for jokes.
Cheer up. We'll find him.
I hope so.
Slavia smiled.
Well, I still have some things to do.
See you later. She left, but I was standing there for some time staring at the Cybernetics Club's closet. However, I was so inspired by Slavia's actions that I decided to continue searching somewhere else. Alright. So I guess that's my place. Okay. Why do it looks like I have a paper bag over my head. A little funky. Alright. Hey, let's try the forest, see if there's any spirits. It was obvious that Olga and her pioneers have already searched every nook and cranny of the camp, roamed the length and breadth of it, so probably it's not worth looking for Shurik in the canteen or on the beach, or in the Cybernetics Club. It was his second home. Or maybe even his first. Thus, it might be worth looking around the surrounding forest. I didn't plan to go far into the forest, otherwise it might be me who they'll be searching for tomorrow. I didn't really visit the countryside often. I just stayed in a country house every summer during my childhood, but that one was very close to the city. But in this camp it was possible to find everything I hadn't seen for so long: overwhelming vegetation, singing birds, and fresh air. I found a meadow and sat on a stump. How peaceful this place was. But where in the world is Shurik? Actually, he could have been taken against his will. This camp is far from normal, so pioneer disappearances should not be all that strange. An intriguing possibility. Could it be the work of whichever force sent me here, or is it just some separate local entity's doing? Lost in my own thoughts, I didn't notice how the grass before me started moving. I looked closely and saw a squirrel. It approached me carefully and stared at my hands. Probably used to getting fed here. Sorry, friend, I don't have anything with me. Of course, the squirrel could not understand me and continued to just sit there, waiting for treats. I felt sorry for it because I didn't have even a crumb of bread in my pocket. I realized that I'm even ashamed to look it in the eyes and decided to move on. After some more wandering, I came to the washstands. Turns out that he is not in the forest either. At least, not in the surrounding area. And going farther is just frightening. I walked to the washstands, took off my shirt and tried to wipe myself down because I was all sweaty. However, it wasn't so easy. I won't be able to get into the wash bowl, and there isn't even a ladle. Suddenly I heard footsteps from behind. I turned around. Electronik was walking in my direction. Looking for Shurik? Yes. You too?
Me too.
Listen, you know him better. Where could he have gone?
I don't have a clue,
he answered sadly. Well, I just don't understand why everyone has made such a fuss. During the night, wasn't he in the cabin with you? Then he can't have been gone for too long. Maybe he went for a walk.
You don't know Shurik,
said Electronik excitedly.
He is fantastically dedicated to his work. His life consists of robotics and cybernetics. People like him are 1 in a million. No, in a billion. His talent is boundless. I look up to him. He is a man of steel. No, simply triumphant.
At the moment he looked like Hitler making a speech in front of a crowd of thousands. Even his gestures matched. That's kind of creepy. Okay, so what?
So what? You don't understand, do you?
No.
He spends all of it, you see. All of his free time in our club. All!
So, disappearing just like that is unusual for him.
Of course. Seems like Electronik calmed down. Okay. He looked at me intently. Are you going to wash? Not really. Just rinse off a little. It is hot. Me too. He looked around. I wish there was a bucket or a ladle. Something to get more water with. Yeah, I noticed already. Then let's do this. He walked behind washstands and pulled on one of the taps. To my surprise, its end turned up, and rather than pouring into the wash bowl, the water splashed up almost 90 degrees. You could manage to wash yourself that way. Meanwhile, Electronik took off his shirt and then squatted, so it seemed like he pulled down his shorts. Couldn't really tell because the washstand he was behind concealed him up to the waist. He directed the stream towards himself and started to sing somewhat quietly. I'm not singing that. Let's clean my chimney sweep. I stood astonished, not knowing what to do. He seemed to notice it. I'll wash myself, then let you use it. Gosh, I got such a massive chill. Well, I just remembered that I have something to do. Gotta go. Out of all the eccentricities of Electronik, the moment I just saw was the weirdest one. Hey, what's up with you? A cold shower on such a hot day is like the best thing ever. No, that won't do. And anyway, I have to go. I put on my shirt quickly and ran back into the forest. Wonder what's got into him. I went for lunch with mixed feelings, with a sense of accomplishment and with a realization of time wasted. The canteen was crowded. Couldn't stay unnoticed. Olga called me. Semyon, come with us! The camp leader, Slavia and Electronik, were sitting at a 4-seat table. I nodded and went to get my food. This time I had to spend several minutes in the queue. Today's menu didn't really differ from the other day's menus. The dishes looked the same as last. When I sat at the table and wished bon appetit to everyone, Olga said, So, what are you thinking? About what? We searched for Shurik all around. It's noon and he's nowhere to be found. Took a note of the rhyme and didn't want to point it out. We looked all over the camp. I went all around the neighboring forest. Olga looked at me, and I helped too. We must call the police. Maybe we should wait until the evening, I asked lazily. Maybe he went home. That can't be. Shurik lives thousands of miles away. By train? The nearest station, she paused, is far off. Now it was getting interesting. Every time the conversation reached the point concerning ways I could leave Sovinok, all the camp inhabitants started changing the subject. How far is far? Really far. The camp leader looked at me, indicating with her expression that asking more questions was not advised. So we should go deeper into the forest. Maybe he got lost. Shurik always takes a compass, chimed in Electronik. I wonder what else could be found in his magic vest, assuming he has one. If I were to get lost in the forest, a compass would be of no real use. Police! We should call the police in the evening. Not right now, at least. Okay, so you'll do it later. They were all silent. We should be able to find him before evening. We still have time. If he actually got lost, we have no time to lose. We cannot be sure. Then where is he? Where? There was some truth to the camp leader's words. Hiding the whole day just like that is suspicious. Why would he do that? Shurik seemed to me to be quite a serious pioneer. Ulyana would have been a better fit for this behavior.
so there is good reason to believe that he was gone. All that can be done has already been done. We'll just have to wait. Slavia, Electronik, and Olga looked at me sorrowfully but didn't say a word. I finished my lunch, took the tray back, and left the canteen. Still the first half of the day. What now? The camp was drifting off for an afternoon nap. Only Genda stared at me through his glasses. Of course, he was staring somewhere else, but I had a feeling that he was constantly watching me. I bet he knows where Shurik is hiding. He just can't say anything. The disappearance of the Cybernetics Club's leader made me think. Maybe it's got something to do with my case. Oh God.
Oh, Pioneer.
The nurse stood in front of me. I looked at her curiously.
Go and take my place in the infirmary. I have an urgent call. Somebody is injured.
Me?
Yes, you. Take the keys.
The nurse threw me the keys and ran away. Why me? Isn't there anyone else in this camp? What exactly should I be doing? What if something happens? Oh, what do I do now? I missed my chance to refuse. I stood in front of the infirmary. On the one hand, there is nothing to worry about. I'll spend half an hour or so here and she'll be back. But what if someone comes for actual help? With a broken leg or a head injury? I began to worry too much. I hope that there are no injuries more serious than bruises and scratches in this camp. But at the same time, I could not shake the idea that in a serious situation, I would be absolutely useless. I don't even know how to perform CPR. Don't worry, I don't know either. A magazine on the nurse's table caught my attention. A good way to relax, I guess. This is labeled Soviet Fashion. The publication date or month were absent, of course. However, this was not a surprise. There were much stranger things happening here. I didn't know much about Soviet magazines. Maybe they actually didn't have publication dates on them. Models dressed in old-fashioned clothes stared at me from the glossy pages. Nowadays, nobody would wear such clothes. I smirked. I wondered if Slavia, for example, considered this fashionable. I could only imagine what would happen if she appeared in my time, wearing something like this. Imagine we were walking in hand. I'm wearing my coat with the hood, and she is dressed in a lavish dress covered with lace and things. Seems like I'm already imagining Slavia in my world. With me. And not only Slavia. This dress better suits Ulyana. This cute sarafan would look great on Alisa. This skirt and cardigan would look nice on Lena. If only they could be real. No, I saw them, heard them, could even touch them. But still, they are here, and I simply don't belong in this place. It's alien to me. I'm just waiting for a chance to get out of here. Waiting because nothing is up to me anymore. I sighed, put my head on the table, and fell asleep. I was awoken by the noise of the door opening. Hey, it's Lena. Lena stood at the door.
The nurse isn't here. Then I'll come back later.
I'm substituting for her. Since I am responsible for pioneers' lives, I should do it with full responsibility. Although, in fact, I was just afraid of something bad happening because of me. Any health complaints? I tried to give Lena the most professional smile I could in order not to confuse her.
Nothing special. Just a little headache.
Let's do this. Some painkillers, maybe. Of course, I wasn't aware of where to find required medicine, so it took me a while to find them. Finally, I handed a metamizole tablet to Lena.
Thanks.
She smiled. That was completely unexpected, and I lost touch with reality staring at her.
What?
Lena turned awkward in an instant. Listen, I've been wondering, do you like this? I don't know what got into me, but I grabbed that magazine from the table and showed her that picture of a skirt and a cardigan, which would really suit Lena in my opinion. Maybe I went completely nuts, thinking about all the girls being in my world. Or maybe I wanted to distract myself instead and just waiting for the nurse to come back. Lena looked at the picture.
Yes, I guess.
Is stuff like this in fashion?
I guess.
She got confused and started blushing.
Why do you ask?
Really? Why? Oh, do we go for awkward or just overkill? No. Let's see how she takes it.
Thank you.
It's alright, I'm just being completely honest. We were quiet for some time. How is your headache?
Much better, thank you.
She smiled.
I'll be off.
Good luck. Lena went out and I continued to look through the magazine. After a while, somebody knocked at the door again. Seems that the infirmary is the most popular place to go. Suddenly, I decided to role-play a nurse. Just a male version. And said, "Come in." Oh no. The door opened and Ulyana entered the room. Wow, did I miss the moment when you decided to start knocking?
Anything wrong with me knocking?
She frowned. Where does it hurt?
Why on earth would I tell you? Where's the nurse?
Right in front of you. I imposingly crossed my legs and looked questioningly at her.
I'd better go. It'd be better to die than be treated by you.
She smiled mischievously. You didn't even let me try. Ulyana thought for a moment.
Though you could give me some pills.
What's bothering you? It took her some time to reply.
A heavy stomach.
Sure it's not an empty head? I muttered under my breath.
What did you say?
Nothing. Give me a second. I found the pills in the first drawer I opened.
Thank you, Doctor.
She smiled cheerfully. Watching Ulyana, I could not imagine how such an optimistic and active child could have any health problems. She steal more candy? She gave me a baleful look.
No, I left everything for you.
Ulyana ran out of the infirmary and slammed the door. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Where is the nurse? Again, I went back to studying Soviet fashion trends. Time passed, but the nurse was still absent. I wasn't searching for Shurik, wasn't looking for any clues concerning my situation. I was just sitting and flipping through a magazine. Just for a moment, I felt quite satisfied with this situation. So far, everything that has happened here could be seen as just a trip to a summer camp, and if nothing changes anytime soon, then I can start worrying. Again, somebody knocked on the door. Did I miss the outbreak of an epidemic? Slavia was standing at the doorway.
Oh, hi. Isn't the nurse here?
Hi. No, she's not here. I'm taking over for today.
Great. I'd like...
She hesitated. What?
By the way, Semyon.
Slavia said and looked intently at me. What?
It seems like I lost my keys. Have you seen them anywhere?
Sure I have. Yes, here. I found them near the canteen yesterday. I wanted to return them to you, but forgot about it. I was really bad at lying. My cheeks were red, my eyes were wandering around, and hands were constantly shaking. Here. I was already preparing myself for an appropriate scolding, but Slavia only took the keys and said,
Thanks.
So, what have you come for? I really needed to change the subject. Does anything hurt?
No, it's nothing.
Strange. I wouldn't even think that such an open person as Slavia would keep something quiet. If there's something bothering you, tell me. That's why I'm here, to treat people. I smiled wildly.
No. I mean yes, but no.
Hearing that made anything possible, even division by 0. So, how can I help you?
I guess you can't.
She smiled and was going to leave, but suddenly stopped.
However, could you step out for a minute?
Why not? Okay. I stepped out of the infirmary and leaned against the wall. I wonder what she might be doing, something that I can't even see. After a minute, the door opened and Slavia came out. She was carrying a small bundle. I don't really want to ask about the bundle, but I'm going to ask about the bundle. What is it?
Nothing.
She blushed.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Slavia ran away. Seems like I shouldn't have asked. Oh well. I looked at the time. It was getting late. I'd read the magazine backwards and forwards, but the nurse still wasn't here. Oh no. Suddenly the door burst open, and Elisa rushed inside. She looked at me piercingly.
What are you doing here?
Sitting, I admitted honestly.
Okay then. It's even better without the nurse.
She murmured. Are you sick? I asked acidly. Elisa didn't answer and came closer to me.
Move over.
Why?
So I can open the door, isn't it obvious?
What for? She got angry.
None of your business.
Well, I'm kind of in charge here. She gave it a moment's thought.
Then give me some activated carbon.
Stomachache? Stop.
Yeah.
She grinned sharply. I got the feeling that there was something wrong here. No, if that's what she wants, then that's what she gets. Fair enough. But you never know. What if she really has an ache? Okay. I reached into the drawer and got out a packet of activated carbon.
Thanks.
She wrested it from my hand and ran away. You're welcome. It was 15 minutes till dinner, and the nurse still wasn't back. I guess just leaving the place like this won't do. She asked me to look after it after all. And who knows what might happen if I leave. Though who would want to steal anything from here? Except for Elisa stealing activated carbon. I opened the magazine again and began flipping through for the nth time. The fashions of the 80s weren't that fun anymore. Yawning got me several times. It was already 6 o'clock, so dinner has already started. Of course, I had to be on the watch till the end, but my stomach seemed to have its own opinion on the matter. I stood up and steadily headed toward the exit. A rustling sound came from behind the door. Could it be someone else who got poisoned, broke their arm, or something even worse? I sighed heavily and pulled the doorknob. However, there was no one out there. Seems it was just my imagination. I returned inside and instantly noticed that something had changed in the infirmary. To be precise, an apple had appeared on the table. Was that there before? I didn't really look at the background. But where from? Fruits can't just materialize from thin air by themselves, can they? Though, in this camp, anything is possible. Chances are someone just brought it here. Maybe Lena wanted to thank me, given that she's all shy and... But wait, how could she just slip past me like that? Lena wouldn't climb through the window after all, so there must be something else. I was suddenly overwhelmed by fear. What if the apple is poisoned? Though, why would someone complicate things when I'm here totally helpless and can be killed way more easily? Or it might be the apple which Eve tasted in the Garden of Eden. In that case, I certainly shouldn't eat it. The same second, my stomach reminded me it was there by rumbling traitorously. However, it would take time to close the infirmary, to reach the canteen, to get food. My stomach is about to eat itself. There's nothing wrong, I guess. Once again, I tried to remember if this apple was here before. In the end, it must have appeared from somewhere. Maybe it got here through the window. The shutter was slightly open, so someone must have reached in and put it there. Nothing serious, however. What's the worst that could happen? Finally, hunger prevailed. I started chewing on the ripe green apple with gusto. Its taste seemed normal, though I don't think that even the strongest poison can be tasted. But it's too late to think about that. It was time to go for dinner. And we're gonna have to leave that there. I was hoping we'd get through a bit more of the day, but we're running out of time. So we'll just have to find out what the heck happened to Shurik. And yeah, that's a little disconcerting. And we didn't get to search the other two places. We didn't get to check the bus stop, and we didn't get to check out the boathouse, I think it was. So I don't know if we made the wrong choice or what, but we'll have to wait until next week to find out just what the hell is going on in this camp. But in the meantime, thank you for joining me. Hit that subscribe button. Post a comment what you think is going to happen, how this is all going to go down. Click the thumbs up button if you're having fun. And I'll see you all next time.